Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Wellness Wednesday with Dr. Latoya Wells. I am Dr. Latoya Wells, Doctor of Nursing Practice, family nurse practitioner, and owner of Wells Legacy Health and Wellness. I am so excited to be here with you all tonight to talk about a topic that I'm sure many of us experience. Whew. I have to take a deep breath with that one. I was doing some research on this, and some of the numbers that I came across were just astounding at how many people deal with stress and how many people have health conditions that are related, directly linked to stress. And so we're going to talk about that tonight. I am Dr. Latoya Wells, owner of Wells Legacy Health and Wellness. I am a family nurse practitioner. I'm able to practice autonomously in the state of Florida and in Minnesota, if you did not know that. So if you know of anybody in the state of Florida who is looking for a new primary care provider, if they're not feeling well, they, need some help with hormone replacement therapy, if they, need some help with weight loss, or just need to talk with someone about their health and just want to make sure that they are okay and get a physical exam. We have some additional services that are coming. I'm so excited about it. We have been credentialed with several insurances. That information is coming out soon. So continue to refer. Thank you to those of you who have been referring individuals to our practice. Daily, we're getting calls and we're just excited. We're growing and it's exciting. So thank you all so much for the referrals and the word of mouth. I have not done much advertising, which we're in the process of getting that ramped up and on board. But thank you so much to those of you who have trusted me with your care and the care of your family, and so much so that you're willing to refer us. So continue spreading the word, continue to share the lives, continue to bring our name up. I'm just excited. I do have some speaking engagements coming up. And so for that, I'm also excited as well because I love, 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 love educating the community. And I get an opportunity to sit amongst some amazing individuals as we disseminate a lot of different information. So be on the lookout on our social media pages for the flyers and the events that we will be participating in and partaking in. I'm so excited. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our Wellness Wednesday tonight. Stress. What is stress? What stresses you most? Let me ask that question. Is it work? Is it family? Is it finances? What stresses you most? Many of us, if there were 10 people in the room, all 10 of us would have something that we could say causes us stress on a day-to-day basis. And it's how we manage the stress that we deal with. I had an appointment with a patient once, and I asked her about her stress level. And she said, "Oh, I'm not stressed. I'm never stressed. Nothing stresses me out." And I said, "Okay, let's talk about it." But as we began to dig deep and to unveil and pull back the layers on some questions that I had and some answers that she provided, turns out that she was very stressed. It's just the way in which she handles and which she manages her stress level is amazing. And so we all have some degree of stress. Whether you're waking up, going to sleep, you're going to deal with something throughout your day that could potentially cause you to have some stress. So we're going to talk about that tonight. I want to make sure that you have the information you need, that you have some knowledge about how to recognize stress in your life and within your body. So we're going to talk about it. So there's two different types of stress. We have good stress and then we have bad stress. So good stress is it helps you with motivation and performance. So whenever I think of an athlete, the athletes, I've watched my daughter for years prepare and practice and train for volleyball. And some of the drills that they would have to go through and things that they would need to do in order to perform, building up the muscle, building up stamina, building up her cardio, and that mental toughness was a challenge for her. And I'm sure for many of the other girls that played volleyball or any athlete for that matter, but that was considered good stress. And it was targeted in a certain direction. Bad stress, it overwhelms and it causes harm to one's health. And so it's important to understand and to be able to pick up on when your body is dealing with good stress and when you're dealing with bad stress. And if someone tells you, "I'm never stressed," chances are they're lying, they're fibbing. their story, or however you want however you want to say it. We all deal with some type of stress throughout our day and within our lives. The key is how we manage it. So what's one thing that helps you de-stress and to deal with your stress? I'll raise my hand. So for me, exercising, praying, and being near the water helps me with my stress, and not in that particular order, because my first go-to is prayer. The next thing, journaling, exercising, those are things that help me. And then also taking deep breaths. And we're going to talk about some strategies, but I want you to take a few moments and consider, what is one thing that you do to de-stress? How do you get rid of stress? Stress has a major impact on our health. It can in the United States. It can have in worldwide in actuality. But it impacts millions of individuals, and it contributes to serious health occurrences and health outcomes when it comes to how we deal with stress and its impact on our bodies and on our mental health, not just physical bodies, but mental health, emotional health. And so it's important to understand the significance of stress and the importance of finding time to de-stress. So, nearly half of all Americans report frequently experiencing stress at some point, marking a 16-point increase over the past 2 decades, and is reaching its highest level according to some recent Gallup polls. There's a lot I can say about that, but I'm going to keep moving. In 2024, 43% of adults reported feeling more anxious than the previous year, with many attributing things that have increased or caused heightened stress. Approximately 60% of adults report feeling stressed every day, highlighting widespread nature of stress among younger populations. And that I can attest to. We have a group of young adults, and don't make me tell a story, because when it comes to the generation, the Gen X, the Gen Z, the Gen Y, whoever, those that are between the age of 17 and 25 are, or let's just say under the age of 30, are dealing with an extreme amount of stress. And when I'm talking to friends of mine who have adult children, young adult children, we often say, I don't understand it, because we dealt with so much stress and we had so many things that we had to deal with as teenagers and young adults, that we made it. And like, okay, what's wrong with this generation? And it's not what's wrong with them, it's what happened to them and what is currently happening. And when we were growing up, one of my other friends on social media, someone that I'm connected with on social media, mentioned, our generation, we grew up with the, Nintendo, and we walked the streets all time of day and night, not worrying about anything. And, we were able to go outside and play and all these things, right? Well, the world is so much different now. And we had different things that we did to cope and to support each other. Well, things are completely different. So we can't, it's not apples to apples anymore when we're comparing the generations, because the world is completely different. When we speak of workplace stress, so you got stress from home, finances, relational stress, just stress all around. And then you leave your home and you go to work, and then you have to deal with workplace stress. And balancing and juggling work-life balance and not bringing work home in and of itself can cause stress. But I have some good news for you. So just hang on. We'll get to some good news in the end. Workplace stress alone has caused 120,000 deaths in the United States each year, making it the 5th leading cause of death. Stress from work has killed over 120,000 people. It kills 120,000 people each year. I'm not telling you go out and quit your job. That's not what I'm saying. Now, if you have it like that, hey, you do what works for you. But there are many of us who need to work, who have different goals and different things that we're doing that requires us to work. So let's work smarter, not harder. Let's work on saving funds and decreasing debt and doing what we can to set ourselves up in the position to where when it's time, we can walk away from those jobs, where we can do things that will cause us less stress, right? Emotional stress is a major contributing factor to 6 leading cause of deaths in the United States. Number 1 being cancer. Number 2, coronary artery disease, accidental deaths, respiratory disorders, cirrhosis of the liver, and suicide. So let's break that down a little bit. Cancer, whenever there's stress within the body, there's changes in the chemical makeup and it increases it puts you at a higher risk for developing cancer. And coronary artery disease, of course, when someone's stressed, their blood pressure goes up, their heart rate goes up. Many times they're eating unhealthy foods, which puts them at a higher rate for developing coronary artery disease, leading to heart attacks, leading to strokes. Accidental deaths. We can put that in a whole category in and of itself. Respiratory disorders. Individuals who have asthma, things of that nature, tend to have more anxiety. When they're having panic attacks, they can then have anxiety attacks and all of the things. Cirrhosis of the liver from drinking. Many people self-medicate with use of alcohol and substance abuse. And so we see increases in alcoholism amongst individuals who report higher stress levels. And so then we see cirrhosis of the liver, which leads to end-stage liver disease. And then suicide. Recently, I saw a post from a friend on social media asking about homicides amongst domestic partners. There's been an increase in domestic violence leading to deaths of women. And someone said it's not anything new. It's been going on. It's just more public now. And so suicide, homicide, you've seen many cases in the news about murder, suicide, things of that nature. And I think it was in the state of Texas where there has been a number of police officers who have committed suicide due to workplace stress. And so it's so important that we work on de-stressing, doing things that are going to cause us peace, that are going to help us release stress when we feel stress. Just for me, I went through a period where, and don't get me wrong, I'm still dealing with a lot of stress, but I've learned tools and techniques and things that I can implement to help me when I am feeling stressed. I went through a time where I almost broke. I was broken and I almost broke. Like literally, I felt like I was having a nervous breakdown. And it was because I was doing all the things for all the people, showing up and being there and being at all the function and having to take all the trips and having to be here and going there. And I just could not get a break. And it was like, I hate to say one thing after the next, but things were happening in succession. And then there were deaths and we were in the midst of the pandemic and, January rolls around and you think, okay, I'm going to have some time to breathe. And that wasn't the case. And then I experienced a major loss, which was very traumatic for me. And I literally broke. I was under so much stress that my body just could not take it anymore. My body couldn't handle it. And it shut down. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually shut down. And it was almost like I had a reboot. And so I'm grateful for that now. It wasn't pretty. It did not feel well. But that came from me not listening to my body, not taking heed to the warning signs. So let's talk about how stress impacts the body, how it affects the body. When it comes to the brain and the nervous system, overloads the neurotransmitters. So brain fog, anxiety, sleep issues, all of those I was dealing with. I was forgetting things. I would sit at my computer and I'm trying to work and I'm just like looking at this screen like I have no clue what I need to do next. I wasn't sleeping. I had insomnia really bad. There was times where I didn't sleep for 3 and 4 days at a time. Heart issues, cardiovascular system, it increases the blood pressure, which puts us at a higher risk for heart disease, especially if you're someone who already deals with heart disease or high blood pressure, high cholesterol, puts you at a higher risk for developing a stroke.
One day.
The next thing that I wanted to go over was how it impacts the lungs and the respiratory system. So shallow breathing, individuals who have issues with stress, we tend not to breathe as deep. There are many times I'll just do that. And my husband will be like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I just feel like I'm holding my breath. So I have to consciously remind myself, breathe, deep breath. And many times we're breathing, but we're not breathing as deeply as we should. When we take those deep cleansing breaths, we're bringing in the oxygen and we're releasing the CO2. And you can feel the difference. I want you to take a moment, if you're watching this now, to count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in. Breathe out. Do that 3 times and see how much better you feel after you do that. Just taking a couple deep breaths, it can be the magic trick, that not magic, but to me it seems like magic because it happens just like that. So worsening asthma or respiratory issues. So if somebody has asthma attack, many times their asthma attacks can be brought on or increased in frequency because of stress. Digestive issues, so increased acid. So you have individuals who are dealing with ulcers, indigestion, irritable bowel syndrome, constipation. All of those things can impact your health. Stress, this is how it can impact your health. With the musculoskeletal system, tension. Individuals, I tend to carry my stress in my shoulders and in my neck. So the tension headaches, the migraines, muscle pain, muscle strain because of the tension. Many times we don't realize how much tension we put on our bodies or how much tension we're carrying until you go for a massage and they start doing those deep tissue massages. And the next day your sores all get out because they've just gone in there and broken up a lot of those knots and released a lot of that tension and inflammation within your muscles, which, speaking of, I need to schedule my massage. So if you haven't gone for a massage recently, schedule one. It'll work wonders for you. Your immune system, when you're stressed, your immune system is weakened. So it puts you at risk for frequent colds, frequent infections. Those individuals who deal with autoimmune disorders will have flare-ups in their system, their conditions. Individuals who have sickle cell anemia will have, crisis, all because of stress. So some of the signs and symptoms of stress: physical, we have fatigue. We talked about it, headaches, muscle tension, digestive issues. Emotionally, irritability, anxiety, depression, feeling overwhelmed. I can tell you, I just felt so overwhelmed. And everybody was coming to me. I was providing everything for everybody. I was being everything for everybody. And I just recently heard a saying, that we pour from empty cup. But one of the ladies that was on this meeting with me, she said, our cup should never be empty. And that made me just sit back and think about that for a moment. We shouldn't be pouring from empty cups. We should always have some room in our cup to pour from where we're not empty. And that really just kind of resonated with me. Behavioral changes, procrastination, oh boy, delaying, avoiding things, overeating, undereating, social withdrawal. I can tell when I'm going through periods of high stress, I don't respond back to text messages. I just want to put my phone on do not disturb and don't talk to anybody because I just need to figure out all the things, right? And so cognitive issues, trouble concentrating, memory issues, racing thoughts. When I look at myself back in 2021, 2022, this was me. All of those things, I was experiencing that. How many of you are experiencing that today? And you're pushing past it. You're trying to make it and you're in survival mode. I need you to take a break. I need you to slow down for a minute, look at things as a whole, and figure out how you can tackle one thing at a time. How can you de-stress? How can you get some of the things off of your plate? Because you can't show up and be 100% for someone when you only have 1% left. Right? You have to be able to take care of yourself so that you can be there and show up for others. So what are some of the hazards and warning signs of chronic stress? I already talked about it. Increased risk of stroke, heart attack, obesity, and diabetes. It leads to burnout, depression, and anxiety disorders. I can recall during the time that I was going through, I was talking with a a leader and a mentor of mine, and she mentioned the number of individuals who were quitting and leaving their jobs in that time due to stress. And I'm talking about during the pandemic and all of that stuff. For many of you that know, I primarily work from home, and during the pandemic, my outlet was getting out of the house and going to meet with friends and going to ride the bike and going to travel. But when the world shut down, I was stuck in the house and I did not have opportunity to get out and do the things that would give me some solace or some peace, or just break up the monotony of being in the house. I didn't have that. So it was really hard to make that adjustment, but we did. And we kind of got through it. We did. So the impacts of mental health on the stress, we talked about that. Mental health, it can trigger anxiety, depression, mood swings for individuals who are already dealing with depression and anxiety and panic attacks and suicidal ideation and thoughts. These things can be magnified during these periods of high stress. That's why we see increases in suicide. We see increases of anxiety attacks when people are dealing with a lot of stress. Work. It lowers productivity. It increases absenteeism. People are calling out of work, and also causes burnout. And again, as I mentioned, there were so many people, and I haven't done the research on it, but there are so many people who quit their jobs, who leave their careers over stress. And there's nothing wrong with that. One thing I can say about this generation, they don't care. If something does not fit within their box that they've created and they're not able to check off, they're leaving. If it's going to cost them their peace, they're gone. They're going to quit their job. They're going to find another one, right? And so in a way, I feel like that's good because they've learned to set boundaries early, whereas there has to be balance. Let me just put it like that. There needs to be some balance. There has to be balance in all things. And then with relationships, it causes conflict. There's communication breakdowns. There's emotional withdrawals. There's so many things that can happen with stress. So I want to put this question out there. How do you feel your work-life balance is? Is it healthy? Do you feel that your work-life balance is healthy? I know that's a term that we've been throwing out around a whole lot recently. Work-life balance, work-life balance. What does that look like to you? And is it healthy? What are some of the things that you can do to help to create a healthier balance when it comes to work-life, relationship, and life, just life in general? So how do you de-stress? What are some things that you can do to help with stress? One, take inventory of the things that you're doing. Take inventory of your day. Me, I'm a planner. I don't have my planner with me right now. Well, I do, but it's in a book bag. But I tend to like to write things out. But when I get stressed, planner goes out the door. I don't put anything on the calendar. I don't journal like I used to. And I just kind of go inward. Well, those things don't help me. I do well with routine. So if you're an individual that does well with routine, do your best to continue with that routine. And if you get off track for a day or so, that's okay. Get back on track and keep moving. Exercising, it releases endorphins. It lowers cortisol. Stress increases the cortisol levels. Try walking and strength training and whatever you need to do, Pilates, bar, whatever you need to do to help with stress. Deep breathing, as I mentioned. Excuse me. Deep breathing. It activates something called the parasympathetic nervous system. So inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and exhale for 6 seconds. So right, practice that. When I tell you the amount of stress that just kind of like, as I was breathing out, I was breathing out all of that stress. I don't know how many of you know that whenever I'm speaking in front of people, even doing this live, I am nervous as all get out, right? But other people say to me, I don't see it. But have you ever seen the duck on top of the water? They look cool, calm, and collected. But under the water, those feet are going 100 miles a minute. And so for me, I have to really prep myself before I get on here or before I stand to speak in front of anybody because I get really nervous. So healthy eating, avoid the excessive caffeines, the sugars, the processed foods, which are going to, one, increase your weight, put you at a higher risk for developing obesity. The increased caffeine could have issues with your heart, your blood pressure, your heart rate, all of that stuff. It can impede sleeping when you're trying to go to sleep. If you've been drinking coffee and sodas and all that stuff throughout the day, it can impact your sleep. Speaking of sleep, 7 to 9 hours of sleep per day. Some people say 7 to 8 hours. So you want to aim for that amount of sleep. Good sleep, restful sleep, deep sleep. Poor sleep hygiene can cause individuals to have issues with memory and things of that nature. Just kind of adds on to the stress. And so lack of sleep increases the stress. It worsens the stress. Mindfulness and meditation, whatever works for you. Again, prayer for me, journaling, all those things, it decreases cortisol and it increases focus. When I'm able to just kind of sit with my journal and just kind of let the hand go and let the words just flow on the paper, I'm getting all of that stuff out of my head and onto paper. And so that way it's not all convoluted in my head. With my planner, I just do a dump, go and put all the things in there that I need to put in there to help me stay on track. Because I am a high functioning woman, that I am an entrepreneur. I work full time. I'm a wife. I have family, adult children, you name it. And there are many times where I'm being pulled in many different directions, which I know many of you are, but being able to say no and mean it, and that be the end of a period, no, N-O period, and leave it at that and not feel bad about it has worked so much for me. No, I'm not available to do that. Or I'm sorry, I can't come to that event. Nope, I can't do it. I have to take stock and inventory of my time and where I am physically, emotionally, spiritually, because if I'm stretching myself thin, then I'm working my way back to where I was in 2022 and 23. And I can't go back there. So getting social support, talking to friends, family, even a professional. I'm going to say I'm a proponent for therapy. Therapy works. It helps. It gives you the opportunity to speak with someone who's removed from the situation, who can give you the constructive criticism, who can give you the tips and tools that you need to make sure that you are managing your stress well. I'll leave it at that. So what are some of the things that you do to help with stress? I want to encourage you to prioritize stress management. If you need to talk with someone, give us a call. We can walk you through. I will even go so much to say that I will give free 15-minute consults to help you figure these things out, to get you connected with a therapist if that's what you need. Reach out to us. I want to make sure that we are here to support you and to provide you with all of the information, all of the support that you need. We can't do it all. You can't be everything to everybody. You have to be able to show up for yourself and take care of yourself before you can show up for other people. So what is it that you're doing to help de-stress, to get rid of the stress in your life? Stress is an invisible enemy, but you can fight back. You just have to put the things into place that will help you. Take some time to take a few deep breaths. Take some time to for me, it's going to the beach. Take some time to do what works for you to help you decrease your stress. It's important. It really is important. And again, if you're not 100%, you can't be there and show up for everybody else. So as we move throughout the month of April, there's so many things to be grateful for and so many things that we can do and get involved in. Take inventory of where you are right now. Write things down, put it in your phone, and go through and look and prioritize the things that need to be done. And you start checking off one thing at a time. Stress, as we know, can impact your body. I know because I've been there. Chest pain, I've gone to the ER, thought I was having a heart attack, is stress. Take some time to take a deep breath and de-stress. I know we're all dealing with a lot of stress right now, and there's a lot of things going on in our society, but we're here for one another, and I'm here for you. Until next time, stay safe and be well. This is Dr. Latoya Wells with Wells Legacy Health and Wellness. Talk with you soon. Bye.